So I wanted food in my side garden, also wanted a screen. This is one thing that's not part of the butterfly garden, but not part of the pollinator. This is a Texas everbearing fig. I'm really excited to announce, I wish you could smell this. It smells like a fig for the first year ever. I got it as a bare root 3 years ago. This is its 4th year, and it finally smells like a fig. It has that fig smell, you know, when you walk into one of those shrubs. So I really am hoping that he will lean out this way. And yes, I have to move this mulch, but I need it, so I'll move the mulch. But yeah, a couple of mountain laurels. These mountain laurels are designed as a screen for the north wind, which would come from this direction, going that way towards the artichokes. So that's what this is for. These Mexican feather grasses are kind of here to hide the irrigation inlets. When I first moved here, this was all grass, and the water would just run through the grass. Well, the water's not running up here. Instead, it's running and flowing out there. So I've created several irrigation inlets. You can see that all this aggregate, broken up aggregate, is running down here, and you know, it's running into the yard, and you can kind of see where it's running. Got another one here, running through there. And another one here, running through there. I'm going to put one more up there, and then I think I can capture most of the water. I mean, you can see all the aggregate that runs into the flower beds. I can capture most of the water here, and I tried to send a lot of it into the artichoke beds, so that if we do have a heavy rainstorm, the artichokes will get watered. These zinnias, these are my cut flowers. I just let them pop up anywhere they want to. They're so beautiful. Butterflies love them. And they're volunteers, they're annuals. So I got white ones and pink ones. See the white ones and pink ones here? Zinnias. See that? And then zinnias here, white ones and pink ones. Solid. Really like that look. So they're welcome to pop up anywhere they want. Butterflies love them again. So lantana. You know, I love the lantana. It is getting big, huge. These things are getting. I had 3 different kinds of lantana here, but the butterflies weren't going to the new gold lantana. The butterflies were only going to the native. So I got mealy blue sage on the border here, and then behind it I've got a wall of lantana. The lantana is designed to be big enough to hide the artichokes, and it does a very good job. By the time the lantanas lose their leaves, the artichokes are 4 feet tall, so they really hide them really well. And if you look closely, you can see this is a Dallas red lantana, and this is a native lantana. So for years I paid attention. I had a bench and I sat back here and I paid attention to where the butterflies went. In this garden, they never went to the new gold lantana. I don't mean like once in a while. I mean like never. They never went. And this is designed to be form over function. I said that wrong. This is designed to be food over aesthetics. That's what I meant to say. So these guys right here, this Dallas red attracts some butterflies. I mean some, but not as many as the natives. I've got like 7 natives here, and then the 1 Dallas red, just in case there's some sort of moth or something I'm not aware of that really likes that particular variety. But it does attract a couple. So this is echinacea. This is the wildflower that Alyssa chose. She wanted these, and they've grown really well. I mean, you can see the some are in bloom, some are not in bloom, but they're all edible. It's all organic echinacea. Right here, this is one of my favorites, which is the reason I gave it. A lot of people consider this a weed. This is sensitive briar. That little puffball flower, I just love it. Watch the leaves behind it. I'm going to touch all these leaves and just watch, they're going to close. So if you notice, I'll zoom out a little bit so you can kind of see them close. See, the leaves around them are still open, those are closed. Isn't that interesting? Love this plant, just for that. It's a really ancient plant. It's found all over the world, in fact, but I love it, so I feature it as a wildflower here. I make it so the lantana can't quite reach it, and the mealy blue sage doesn't quite reach it, and the Zexminia doesn't quite reach it, and so it's got a little area here. And you know, if I weed it once a year, it pretty much dominates this area, so it does a pretty good job. Right here I've got a Rio Bravo Texas sage. A lot of people say this is their favorite. It is one of my least favorite. I think I just like the more silver look. And I mean, look at it. It can barely outcompete a zinnia. Give me a break. That's one Texas sage right there. That's one Texas sage. I think that thing way outcompetes this thing. And they were planted at the same time. So, not a huge fan of this one, but whatever. I'm gonna see it out. Maybe in another 3 to 5 years it'll put on some height, but it's just not. It's kind of growing low and shrubby. The Zexminia is almost taking it over. I thought the Zexminia, see, these Texas sages grow in areas where there's tall grasses around them and clumps of tall grasses, so most of their foliage is up top, and then down bottom it'll kind of be raggedy and dead. I figured the Zexminia would fill that in, and you know, as with the cannas and stuff like that, but it's just not happening. Speaking of cannas, my canna game is weak. The cannas were supposed to dominate this whole area, and they just keep dying. Those are the only ones that have lived right there. So now they're being swallowed by the Anacostia orchids. I think I'm going to pick those up and move them right up here to the curb. That's about the only place they're going to be able to compete, I think. And just that area right there is supposed to be for cannas, but they can't even outcompete the zinnias. So they have to be able to outcompete the zinnias. This is awesome right here. I mean, the Greg's Mistflower just attracts so many different kinds of pollinators. There's a monarch right there in our center. And there's another species of butterfly over here. I don't know what it is. Right there. And there's another species of butterfly over there. Again, I don't know what it is. Right there. He just flew off. But there are so many pollinators in this flower. You know, at first I was just going to use it as a border, but it's just so successful that I pulled everything else out. The Anacostia orchid is designed to be a screen. There was no screening from our living room window out to the street, and so it's really designed to be a screen for our living room window out to the street. Any sort of viewpoints there works really well. This is only a 4th year plant, so it's going to get a little bit bigger, maybe about, I'd say 3 or 4, maybe 5 feet bigger. I don't think 5 feet bigger, but there's 3 of them in there. You can see it's kind of thin. I mean, you can see the shade underneath it isn't even dense shade, right? It's filtered. Well, there's 2 more growing underneath there, and they're small. And I'm going to let them grow up, and they'll be very dense by the time this is all said and done. So this will be screened. This is a full screen, if you can see it. And the reason I built a screen like this is because of the sun line. This is the edge of the sun line from my house and all that other stuff. Things that get more than 10 hours sun. There's the leucanthum, Anacostia orchid right there, Esperanza, lantana, Amelia blue sage. My yard is down, so if you look, it's almost a 6 foot tall screen. 5 foot tall for sure. I can sit back there and talk on the phone, and I'm in my own private little world. It's very nice. You can see mystic blue sage popping up back there. You know, honestly, that's just, or mystic spire sage, that's just filler. I just needed filler, that's it. And they are doing wonderful. This is my favorite sage. I love the Texas sage, love this leucophyllum. There's only one of them here, and man, doesn't it look awesome, especially against the green. It just pops. You look at it against the white, I mean, it's very silver, and I just really like that. Really, really like that. These are chives, native chives, not native chives. These are not native at all. These are garlic chives, and you can see these ones are in full bloom. Not quite sure about this guy right here. Maybe he gets a little bit too much shade, I don't know. But these guys are in bigger bloom than I've ever seen them before. They look wonderful. I love the allium blooms, like the kind of globe shape, and I especially love the white. Hard to find white in a garden, so I'm really digging the white. And then that's the path. It's not quite done. This persimmon here is being propped up by those. There used to be a whole bunch of persimmons here. You can see the roots there. There were a whole bunch of persimmons. They've fallen over one by one because they were all leaning like this, and they got huge. And so I've used arms from others to prop this up. This one is buried into the ground. This one's just kind of propped up. I just did that a few weeks ago. But yeah, this tree is huge, and it's over 100 years old, and I don't want to lose it. So definitely propping up that guy. This is the backside view. So you can see I can easily sit back here. And unless I'm moving, people are not even going to see me. It's really nice. You know, this was back here when I moved in here. This is, the name's slipping me right now. But I definitely don't want it to get out. I might even just start pulling it up. But it's a great deer test. This is deer food. Deer love it. And they will come in here and eat it. So if I ever see it, it's eaten, I know deer have been in my garden. It's kind of a good litmus test there. Love the look of this. When I said I needed to fill space, I needed to fill space with something that bloomed all the time. And this blooms all the time. And you can see just the wonderful combination of the purple and the lantana. It just looks awesome. This is the artichoke garden. I need to put some more mulch on there, but I'm going to put compost on it first. This over here is my nursery. So I'm building, not building, yeah, I guess I am building a landscape in Houston. And I have another house there, and my neighbor is supposed to be building his house. I don't know how tall his house is going to be. These are shade plants that are designed to go up against the property line. He's going to build a 2-story tall house, and there's going to be some parts of the day that are for shade. So this is variegated ginger. These are lilies. Those were lilies that my late grandmother loved, and she planted those when she was in the garden club. So I'm not really sentimental about plants, but I'm kind of sentimental about those because she's no longer with us. So definitely going to plant those. More shade stuff. On the other side of the house, I'm going to start a fern garden. So I had a huge button fern, and I broke it up into little bits, and now there's about 4 button ferns in there. There's like 6 river ferns in there. They're getting a little bit too much sun, but it is August, so whatever. And then these are the river plants. The pond is shut down right now. I had to clean out the pond in Houston. So this is my shade nursery right here. You can see these are misters. So I do have drip irrigation that runs through this garden, but instead of using drip, I just transitioned this garden to a misting station. And I did that because I have an extensive nursery. Again, I can't afford to just go buy all these plants. I have to grow them. So these are them growing. So most of these are going to go in October. They still have about 6 more weeks to grow before I'm even going to consider putting them in. And, you know, I might even give them 10 to 12 weeks to put them in, really. More stuff that's going in here. This is just more stuff that's going in Houston. The artichokes. I got a couple of 3 artichokes that made it through the summer. This is unheard of in Texas. Artichokes don't make it through the summer in Texas. I don't even know what to say about this. This is unprecedented. So I got 3 artichokes that made it, and yeah, I'm anticipating a great season from those guys. This is Forsythia sage. Oh my gosh, this plant just really sucks my ass. It's a fall bloomer, and the first 2 years it kept getting broken. I have actually never seen it bloom. This is its 4th year. The first year didn't bloom because it was just a first year plant. And then the other 2 years, it was like one time the yard was worked on and it was trampled, so it didn't bloom. I've actually never seen it bloom. So I have to move this out of the garden. And so I took cuttings, and I'm going to go back to Houston and put these cuttings in. This is standing cypress. Again, I'm taking this to Houston. I want to grow some standing cypress in Houston. And yeah, so that's what that is. Pride of Barbados. This Pride of Barbados here is destined for the farmer's market. My kids and I do the farmer's market. I want to teach my girls about business. And I pull these out when they're little bitty, like this big. Pull them out when they're this big. And then just slowly work them up. And then we'll sell them as like a 2-gallon pot. These are 1 gallon Pride of Barbados. You can't sell a first year plant because they don't bloom. This is as big as they get the first year. Nobody wants to buy that plant. So you have to wait over winter and then sell the second year. So that's what this is. That's next year's plants. And we've got, I don't know, about 20 or 30. Plus we got more coming. These are Monterey oaks. Planting those for Houston. I might put one here. Maybe one in the backyard. But planting those for Houston. These I'm keeping because this is a Skyflower Duranta. Almost all of these have thorns on them. I've never found one without thorns. These 3 don't have thorns. So I'm keeping these, and I'm going to plant these and replicate and replicate and replicate and replicate and replicate. I had these in my yard for 4 years in Houston, and then they got trampled by some plumbing work that had to be done. So they look great. And you can see how big that stump is right there. I had to cut them down and cram them into 5-gallon pots. These things were 12 feet tall. So they look great compared to what they did. These lantanas, oh my gosh, lantana. You know, again, I sit in my garden and all day long and I watch the butterflies and the hummingbirds and the pollinators, and the lantana does attract butterflies. As much as, you know, the Latin name for this is horrida. Lantana horrida or something like that, because the smell is terrible. They smell terrible. So you don't want to have them around people. So I kind of try to put them away from people, but no doubt about it, I've got to have some in Houston. I've got to take 3 of them there. So I'm taking 3 lantanas. I know where I'm going to put them, and I'm literally only taking them there because they're part of a good butterfly garden. All of these are salvia microphylla, canyon sages. These are grown for the farmer's market too. These are cuttings that we have, and we just keep planting them up. So now we can sell them for more. This is a Mexican oregano. That Mexican oregano is just for me, taking that one to Houston, so it doesn't really look very healthy, and I couldn't care less because I'm going to plant it in Houston in just a few weeks. This is my pride and joy right here, the catalpa tree. Oh, the catalpa tree. So these guys right here are trees that produce worms that are excellent for fishing. And I'm going to plant these real close to the water. You can see this one's leaning. I've put them in such a way that they have to stretch to get light. So I want them to lean over. I want them to go ahead and get situated leaning over. You can see how he's stretching right there, stretching, trying to get the light, because I want him to stretch over the bulkhead and lean over the water. And I want him to drop all his worms in the water. So that is catfish bait right there. You can see I've got some plumbagos growing. This is for the front yard, just cuttings for the front yard. And there's a potato coming back. That's pretty awesome. I had potatoes. I wanted to break up this part of the garden last year. It just wasn't broken up deep enough. So I just planted a whole bunch of potatoes here. Like this whole area was covered in potatoes. And it's pretty broken up now. You can kind of see the potatoes that are growing from this guy right here. There's a little window you got. If you plant these guys, they work. And I have no idea when this guy was planted, but he made the window. This is the perfect time. So I'm glad he's coming up. This is a New Zealand spinach. Got to be honest with you, it's not the most tasty spinach, but it is great ground cover. It's edible ground cover. And so I have this here as emergency food. If there's ever an emergency, I honestly have probably 4 days worth of salad here for my family. Like days worth. If they had salad, lunch, and supper, we would have plenty of salad. And they could stomach the leaves, or, you know, maybe I guess if there's no power, we couldn't put it in a smoothie, but you can stomach the leaves. So, you know, if you're really hungry, this is a part of my emergency plan. So, I love these chili patines. Love them. This is Texas only native pepper. These are cuttings that I've taken from my own yard. And, these are going to be sold at the farmer's market. All of these are going to be sold at the farmer's market. These are first years. We'll grow them through the winter and then sell all of these next spring. These big ones will be sold at the farmer's market. And yeah, so this is just part of the plant nursery. And this is a baby blue eyes. You know, I found one of these several years ago in the middle of the lawn, and I found it because I missed it when I was cutting the lawn. There was a rock there. I swerved to avoid the rock. I didn't go back and cut the lawn Next time I did go back and cut the lawn, this thing had been growing for a couple more weeks, and it had a beautiful flower on it. So I was able to identify the flower. Come to find out, it is a rare wildflower. Rare in Texas anyway. It's called, I think it's called baby blue eyes. And I believe it's a hyacinth. I think so. I took these at one cutting and I put it here. And what I've done every year, see how they grow? There's 2 of them right there. See how they grow? There's 2 of them right here. See how there's 2 of them right here, 2 of them right here. So this will be the last year I do this, but I divide them. I'll just come in and just pull up the small divisions when they're real small like this, and I'll just plant them up here. So this is probably, again, going to be the last year I do this, but this baby blue eyes has the most amazing flower on it. What I really want to do is get like 20 of them here, so there's no doubt that it is supposed to be here. It doesn't just look like a weed. This is just a seed I planted here just to see if it would grow. I actually really like that thing, so I might just kill it. Now this is a chili patine that was planted from seed by the birds, and it's been here for 7 years now. This is kind of my model, so I use this as my guide. This chili patine gets a little bit of water because anytime there's like a little bit of moisture on the roof, it'll ding ding come down here and it'll probably run into the roots there. So it probably gets a little bit more water than most. No morning sun, it's all shade, and I mean, just look at the quality of peppers there. So many peppers and such a good color, and just kind of eye candy. So that's what I got.